Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at Bitcoin, and I suppose the Bitcoin dominance chart, for what it's worth, we always like to talk about that, but I suppose this is all about Bitcoin really for now, because obviously with the ETFs going live this week, and obviously us approaching our all-time high, we're literally just a tiny fraction away from that all-time high now, and also the weekly looking the way it does, which is the very first time we closed a weekly candle body of this size. This is an all-time high for a weekly candle body close, so everything's looking really bullish for Bitcoin. And with this bullish outlook, and again it is very bullish, could quite easily come some significant pullback. Just before we go into blue sky breakout territory. Absolutely no problem with that happening. In fact, I would expect that kind of thing as people start to get a little bit leveraged and a little bit overexcited, and then suddenly, bang, out of the blue, a nice big mega wick comes to the down. Could also come to the up, so an up and a down. We've seen it all before. Last time we were approaching our $20,000 previous all-time high. We had exactly the same thing go on. We were $500 away from the all-time high. We looked like we were breaking out, and then suddenly, bang, all the way down to about 16,500 in the space of a day or two, really, real quick. And then what happened? Picked up pace. It was essentially a liquidity grab. So longs being wrecked, and then longs being placed at lower levels, then going on to basically making the all-time highs that came thereafter. I would expect the same kind of thing here. It doesn't mean it has to happen. It just means that I'm not prepared to be leveraging any position, whether it's long or short, at this level. Even though the chart is very bullish. In fact, it's so bullish, it's almost too bullish, right? And I've been saying this for the last week or so. This is so bullish that it is almost too bullish. The majority of these, candle body opens and closes don't even touch moving averages. On the occasions that we do, we got the 7 simple gets tagged. That's a very bullish one. And then like on 2 occasions here, and again this has been going on for over a couple of weeks now. Only 2 occasions have we touched the 10 exponential. This is so bullish. It's almost too bullish, right? And most candle bodies just floating above everything, just continuing to go up, overstretching to a large extent RSI and money flow index. Yeah. So again, these aren't bearish signals just because they're high. It's just words of warning. That's all it is. We've got no divergence taking place on this. It's basically bullish the entire time. Like I say, just to repeat myself, it's so bullish, it's just too bullish, all right? This doesn't mean that we can't go into a blue sky breakout. We certainly can. We absolutely can, right? It just means just to be careful. For me, I'm more of a spot trader than a margin trader. There has been some margin positions for me taken recently, some futures trades recently, on that last big dump that we had a few days ago. That was the obvious place to try one, and it's worked out so far so good. But getting overexposed at these toppy levels, especially when there's warning signs to suggest that we could easily get a liquidity grab, it's just a bit deadly. But I am certainly not saying that we can't just break straight out. It's just just hold on to yourself a little bit, so don't get too overexcited. If we do blue sky breakout from here, we'll be launching up into the upper 60s easily, upper 60s, and we just have to stand back and watch and wait and see how it goes. So Bitcoin looking very bullish on the daily, very bullish on the weekly. The only little, and I guess they're not even cracks, would be shown on the 4-hourly, where we do have lower highs on the RSI, but we also have higher lows as well, forming as well. So we're not either way saying that this has got to go one way or another. But I think the overall direction is certainly going to be up. But for those of you who like to play around with futures, I'd just be very careful. That's all, and employ some very rigorous stop losses, just in case it goes the wrong way, which it could, and it probably will. I've noticed that there is some choppy behaviour going on. I expect choppy behaviour this week with the ETFs alone, never mind being at the price that we are right now, with the extensions that we've got on money flow index on the daily, for instance. So, but again, I am not bearish. I am very much bullish, and I'm just trying to warn people that there is a very strong chance of liquidity grabs of maybe even 10 to 15% before it then just does a V-shaped recovery like we saw the other day, and go on to make basically a new all-time high and see where we go from there. So there's no point really in dissecting every single altcoin right now. I mean, I've got the Patreon channel where we are going to be looking at as many charts as you want me to look at tomorrow night. So we do 2 live streams a week for those who are interested. £7.50 a month to get access to those 2 live streams a week, and we can look at whatever it is you want me to look at. So there's no point in looking at anything individually at the moment. The reason I say that is that we've been waiting for a micro rotation, which is what we could be looking at. Like currently, we were expecting to see a pullback on this 200 exponential on the Bitcoin dominance chart. So when we hit this, if we could pull back potentially down to this level. We have had ups and downs and ups and downs and ups and downs. This is a very strong uptrend though, so let's just be careful on this. I would like to see the Bitcoin dominance break out to around about 52% dominant before we get a decent rejection where the altcoins rally. But we could get micro rotations like we've had recently. We had one here, had one here, and had one here. And what I mean by micro rotation, for those who don't watch, is that money gets taken out of Bitcoin into altcoins and then back into Bitcoin. That's all it is. So it's basically just jumping ship, buying some altcoins, holding that for a day or two, going back into Bitcoin. You basically, increase your Bitcoin position by 10, maybe 20 or more percent, depending on what you've bought and how disciplined you are with your profit taking strategies. So we could be looking at a micro rotation as we speak for the day today. We could easily be looking at that, but I'm not really a fan of doing the micro rotations. I'm looking for the big swing trades, like we saw around here. This was an excellent swing trade from Bitcoin into altcoins, and then recently, probably around about 3 weeks ago now, maybe a little more. I'm not saying I got the absolute bottom. I didn't. It was towards the end of the month. It would have been around. I think it must have been around here when I was thinking about doing it, because we'd reclaimed the center of the Bollinger Band. The Bollinger Band was facing up, so it would have been around the end of September, if not the beginning of October. I made my rotation largely into Bitcoin, so I've got a larger Bitcoin position than I've had in basically just almost a year. And so this is a large swing trade. I'd be looking to make a larger swing trade around here, but that doesn't mean that there's not opportunities here. Or for the people who are in alts looking for relief, then yeah, we could easily get one here. The larger positions of altcoins for me will be taken around here, and if it breaks out from here, certainly around here, because we can see how historically these areas have offered supports and resistances. So I would imagine a pullback around 50 to 52. Maybe that's the start of the alt season. If not, between 57 to about 58.5% dominant. So again, I'm not going to bore you all to death with the ins and outs of how I think today is going to go. I think it's going to be choppy. I think the week is going to be choppy. I think the overall direction is up because the weekly is so strong, which it is very strong. I think the altcoins will follow in Bitcoin's shadow and lag behind generally, but we could be looking at a micro rotation taking place now, which means that, on a day like today, if Bitcoin just goes sideways or just hangs around, I think the alts will catch up and we'll have these small alt rallies. And maybe this ends up being the alt season. I'd be disappointed if it was, because it's not high enough for it to be as fantastic as I would like it to be. The higher the Bitcoin dominance, the bigger it falls. Do you know what I mean? And with the bigger the fall, that means the more value for money you get. You have a larger and more expensive Bitcoin to rotate into cheaper, more inexpensive altcoins, then you basically make some significant gains. So that's why I would be disappointed to see the alt season begin here. I would much rather we just have these micro rotations carry on all the way up here over the next month or so for the epic rotation, and that would be absolutely epic. But again, we can look at all of these individually tomorrow night on the live stream if you're interested. Otherwise, there's a Patreon, not just a Patreon. There's a Telegram chat. That's free. We're all in there chatting away about cryptocurrency all the time, and stocks as well. We're looking to diversify into stocks as the bull market would appear to be getting ready to reach a peak. It would be rude not to take some profit and diversify into other areas like traditional markets. Anyway, I'll leave it with you there. But I hope you have a nice day and take it easy.